Man, peace, family. George Macon at you again. I want to come to talk to the family about a lot of things that you see take place across America, right? You're starting to see this thing, Riz, that they talking about. They call it mass shootings now. Mass shootings used to be relegated to when white folks or groups of other nationalities went into municipal buildings, or they went into like clubs across America, and they would shoot up 40 to 50 people. What was that guy in Vegas that shot was 500 people, killed 50
out of
people
a hotel window.
Out of a hotel window. Mass shootings was not typically something that was done in so-called urban areas for the most part, right? They didn't call those mass shootings for the most part, but now they're being called mass shootings. But I want to address this from a place where you're not going to typically hear it addressed in a manner in which it should. I need to really ask the public that may watch this video. Prior to 2019, right? You didn't have. I'm not saying that you didn't have criminality. I'm not saying that you didn't have murders in inner cities like Chicago and Philadelphia and places like that, in Baltimore. But if you notice, since the shutdown from 2000 up until now, shootings have been more brazen. They've been more just as at an all-time high. Mm-hmm. Women are being gunned down. Children, old ladies, people being robbed, home invasions. It's all kinds of things that's happening all at the same time. And one would begin to make their assessment that the stuff that's happening in the hood, you need to lock up all these monkeys and these animals, and you need to throw away the key. But nobody's asking the questions that should really be asked, Riz. Mm-hmm. The questions that should really be asked is these, during the shutdown, what was really going on during the shutdown? We know that they put these 5G towers up all over the planet, right? We know that a lot of people went and got the buffalo pizza. Mm-hmm. And the buffalo wings, the pepperoni pizza, the buffalo wings. Mm-hmm. Those of y'all that understand the language that we're talking about. Yeah. They went and they got, they took it with their Henny shot, mm-hmm. right? And prior to them shutting the planet down, there was a different consciousness mm-hmm. on the planet. I was able to go around, record, talk to people. People was more receptive. Mm-hmm. Right now, there's a dark cloud over America.
Right.
There's a horrible energy to the point where you can't have conversations with nobody. Mm-hmm. There's stuff that's happening on the news where you're like, what the hell? Like, I can't believe this stuff is going on. Mm-hmm. During the shutdown, what type of foods were people eating? When I was going into the supermarket, I was seeing all the fruits and vegetables still on the counters. Mm-hmm. So, soda, cheesesteaks, and all kinds of foods that's not pleasant to the body, right, or not good for brain cognition mm-hmm. or function. You were dealing with anxiety. You was not working out. You were not doing all the things that's conducive to growth and development in a healthy body and a healthy brain. Mm-hmm. That was not something that was being exercised, right? You saw Black Lives Matter and these different white groups all across America marching up and down the street. They were talking about defunding the police. Now, stay with me on that, because there was a conversation about the defunding of police nationally across America. Mm-hmm. And governments, states, governors were not happy with this, right? The police was coming under scrutiny for many different things, where now with the social media thing, cameras everywhere, mm-hmm. police were being exposed for some of the criminality that they were taking part in, where their task was supposed to curb criminality. Right. And now they were on video. So now when you had the George Floyd situation, the Tamir Rice situation, the shutdown of the planet just brought attention to this. And many organizations started to take advantage of black people's pain. But while that was happening, what you guys didn't realize was our people were suffering from mental illness, being shut down. What we noticed was in statistics, rates of abuse of women went up. Suicide rates went up. Depression, anxiety rates went up. Pharmaceutical medicines made a killing during this time because people was on more drugs than any time ever in recorded history. Right? Coming out of the lockdown, they gave a bunch of poor people money. And you saw, to so-called boost the economy, you saw people running wild, right? People were spending money, going into stores and buying stuff. Once that money started to dry up, you started to see places like Philadelphia and Baltimore, Chicago, Memphis turn on fire.
Definitely.
And I have to ask this question, Riz. What happened to these children that you see out here that are committing these heinous acts? I mean, acts we grew up in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
And we're like, what the hell is this? They're shooting into crowds. They're killing pregnant babies, 2 to the head. They're raping women out in public.
Broad daylight.
Smacking their mothers. But if I was a police detective, a homicide detective, and there was a shooting, and when I arrived at the shooting, I saw an 18-year-old on the ground with 2 bullets in his head. The first thing Detective Macon will have to do is do a background assessment. We need to backtrack his steps as to how we saw him, as to what happened before he lay here dying in front of me. I have to put my gloves on. I have to canvass the area. I have to go to his home. I have to search his bedroom. I have to interview his mother, his friends. I have to do an assessment. And in my assessment of America, in the last 20 years, from 2000 to 2020, prior to the shutdown, I have to do an assessment of the murder rates, the assessment of the abortions, the anxiety reports, depression reports, people dying of fools. And when I did my analysis, what I came out of was, we have to ask questions now about this shutdown and about the pepperoni pizza and the buffalo wings and the Hennessy shots that was given to the American people. Because I'm seeing a different consciousness today. 2 years later, out of the shutdown, I'm asking the World Health Organization, the FDA, what happened? See, nobody's going to question the FDA. Nobody's going to question the World Health Organization because most are not educated in this aspect to understand what we're up against. See, we're given a study diet of slavery, Jim Crow, black codes, the death of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Gandhi, and all these different things. But nobody talks about the eugenics movement of old or new. The eugenics movement of today, the birth control pill, Planned Parenthood on every corner, Food Drug Administration, sanctioning and allowing foods that you know that's giving you poor brain cognition, giving you cancer, causing erectile dysfunction in the body. And then they turn around and sell you a blue pill, a yellow pill that goes in and speaks to the receptors in your body to make you get an erection. Now, George, why are you saying all of this? All of this stuff has a direct fact on the way you think and what you manifest back into the reality. But while you're talking about slavery and how many people they killed through slavery, how many people have been murdered through the legalization of food through the FDA, the legalization of medicines, right?
Let me stop you right there. Don't forget your thought. But let's look at the breakdown of, let's just use a company like Rite Aid Pharmacy, okay? And we do the etymology of the words. Rite, R-I-T-E. Rite means ritual. Ritual aid, pharmacy means magic. So what's promoted on the sign is ritual aid magic, okay? That never cured anything. And we're going to go into the Bible about how all the seeds, the fruits, and the herbs are for the healing of the nations. Go ahead, my brother.
So we have to do a critical analysis, man. When you see these mass shootings, one would have to ask the question, why are these mass shootings happening? I'm not saying that mass shootings didn't happen during my era when I was younger, but never to the magnitude of what we're seeing right now. Never. And me and Riz is 49, I'm 47. I have never seen anything like this. Never.
Yeah, it shows to the mentality of the people and how tainted they are through the food, the water, the pharmaceutical magic, the ritual aid magic. I mean, you could just listen to some of the side effects of things they give for like people with depression. And one of the side effects would be like suicidal thoughts. So why would someone take a chemical drug for depression that's only going to make you more depressed to the point where as though it has a warning says suicidal thoughts? Like we got to understand where we are and what's being done.
And stay right there, Riz, because I want you to elaborate on this part. So during our time, they were smoking crack.
Right.
They were snorting cocaine. They was doing heroin.
Yes.
These kids today are taking pills, pharmaceutical pills.
Yes.
And now they're getting high off pharmaceutical pills and lean.
Yes.
Pharmaceutical drugs.
Prescription cough
and then
syrup.
they're going out committing acts based off of what's on that label.
Yes, indeed.
So when I come live and I've given you videos about the World Health Organization, I've given you videos about the Food and Drug Administration, I've given you videos about Big Pharma, and I've talked to my people. And the trick of it is to make you look at the shootings and the trauma and make your assessments of your people based only off of what we're doing to each other, but not see the body is a machine. The brain, the mind tells the body what to do, Riz.
Yes, sir.
If the mind is not renewed, Hosea 4:6, and if the mind is interrupted, right, the natural mind is interrupted with foreign entities or foreign objects being downloaded into it.
Yes.
How do you expect the body to operate? See, we're not looking at this thing full circle because we're not educated. I'm a detective. I see a mass shooting. And then I know that something happened 2 years ago that has never happened in the history of the world on this planet. How can I just not look at that, Riz, and then put that into my assessment? Right. But the thing is, we're so conditioned, our brains is not even telling us to do that. They're getting away with it. Listen to me well, let me calm down. They shut the planet down. The World Health Organization, this is them not hiding, so this is YouTube, you can't bother me with this. This is what the World Health Organization said. By 2035, they want to have 90% of the planet inoculated. They have a system called Leave No One Behind. They shut the planet down all over the planet. They made you stay in the house. People were not getting along. People were not used to sitting amongst each other because you're used to just moving the fast-paced environment.
The rat race.
Moving. The rat race. They shut the rat race down when people wasn't psychologically and mentally ready for it. Right. And they told you didn't do it on your own will. They told you to sit down. So now it's like a kid that you gave too much sugar to, and you telling him to sit down now. Right. And he moving around. He's jittery. He's jigging. And then with that, he's not eating the right food. He's not drinking no water. He's drinking Pepsis. He's doing all these different things. He's taking pills, drugs, all kinds of stuff. He's having sex, making babies that he's not ready to take care of. Right. He's creating a reality of what you're seeing playing out right now in front of you. Yes. So let's get to the defund the police part. With all that being said, because I have to teach in the 360 to educate you people. I don't come to condemn my people. That's not what the Most High told me to do. That's not scripture. The scripture didn't tell me to condemn my people. Jeremiah 30:11 talked about destroying nations and that we would be punished justly by him. My job is to come to put a clean glass next to a dirty glass. So when I see us mass shooting and killing each other, my job is to come here before our people and give our people a word.
So in essence, what you're saying is this is God's will and judgment, because you said we will be punished justly and swiftly.
Yes, but it says my covenant is still with my people. Right. And covenant represents we are the original people. We are in tune with nature. Everything is being destroyed amongst us but us.
Hey, Brother George, like when I was a child and I did something my mother and father forbade me to do, my mom would give me a beating, for lack of a better word. But then she would hug me and say, "Baby, I love you." You just can't do that. Like, and that's God's love.
So watch this. So the reason why I don't come and condemn my people, despite all the things that I see that's hurtful.
Yes.
Because the only thing that's missing amongst us is love. We got hate. We got death, destruction, and anger.
Yes.
So why would I come to meet anger with anger?
Yeah.
How am I going to be a disciple amongst my people to reach my people?
You have to be the clean glass, like you mentioned. I have to be the
clean glass. That don't mean that I'm okaying.
Right.
But I understand greater is he that is in me that is in the world. 2 Corinthians 6:17 says, "Come out from amongst them and be ye clean."
Wow.
So I have to come out from amongst what I'm seeing.
Right.
That don't mean I'm better.
Right.
That means that I see something that you don't see. So now I have to give you love.
Right.
Despite the killing.
Exactly.
Well, what if they shoot you while you loving them? Well, what if they don't? And if they do, guess what? I'm still okay because I'm doing the will of what I believe to be right.
Exactly.
I'm doing the work. I'm doing the will.
Yes, sir.
So let's do this.
And this is the Bible, folks. Like, people want to say, like, not to cut you off, George, but people want to say, "Oh, the Bible was plagiarized. It's fake. It's fake. It's fake." Listen, everything he's saying is ringing true to this day from the Bible.
It's happening.
I can bring up distilled water in the Bible, how it says the Spirit of the Most High God distilled all water for mankind, plants, and animals through steam evaporation. Okay? I mean, everything is in there, folks. You can discount it if you want, but you're just being disobedient.
Right. And this is part of our rebellion and why we're going through the things we're going through. But I want y'all to look at this. Now, they said they wanted to defund the police.
Right.
Well, the enemy, see, let me tell you something about how the enemy works. And the enemy deals with mind control.
Yes, indeed.
Social engineering. So, if you defund the police, all they do is create a system and create energies around the country for things to happen. And put their cameras only on the things negative that's happening to social engineer your mind. So you notice all of a sudden now there's mass shootings everywhere.
Right.
Years ago, people were shooting and stuff like that, but they didn't call it mass shootings, nor did they put it out everywhere.
It's a political term being used.
Right. So now the cameras are going everywhere because they want to have an agenda of getting more money funded to the police because they did 2 years of defunding the police.
Right. But let me stop you right there. Let's look at Philadelphia, for instance, right? Philadelphia just moved this police administration building to the old Enquirer building and spent almost $250 million rehabbing and refurbishing the building to make it the new police administration building of Philadelphia. Now, we can say they were defunded, but there's no evidence of them losing any funds. Anytime you spend $250 million to rehab a building, and I'm seeing new police cars, hybrid police cars, so we could talk about, oh, they defunded the police, but let me tell you something. Every major city thrives off of crime. That's how they generate revenue. Without crime, there is no money, no local, state, or federal funding. So we can use these terms, but they need more crime to survive. It's part of their money.
You just said something was very important. Every major city, the planet drives off of crime. Listen to me very, very well.
Yes, sir. No planet, just in the earth. We're not going to use the term planet.
Yeah, this whole reality.
This whole reality, yes, sir.
There is no fixing this. It's only being ye separate from it.
Yes.
Now I'm going to explain to you why. This world and this reality is fixed and made for the people that's controlling it. This is their heaven, right? This is we're supposed to be separate from it. The thing is, the so-called physical reality that you're living in is based off of your pain, destruction. They're not in it to fix the problem.
Right.
Because if they wanted to fix the problem, they could fix it tomorrow.
Easy solution.
But there's no money in fixing and having love. There is no money, so-called money, in this physical reality of loving your brother.
Yes, sir.
Loving your sister.
Yes, sir.
Not abusing your wife. Not having casual sex.
What?
All of these things lead to the crimes and the criminality that you see that's happening out here.
Yes.
So the defund the police was a ploy.
Yes.
To rile the people up, to make them march, to have you think a certain way. So that way they can turn around and take away your civil liberties by allowing so-called criminality. Go on. So now while you're cheering one way, they're allowing this. And then when you get over here and cheer this side, they'll just allow this. So they just let the pendulum swing each way they want. There is no balance or middle ground.
Yes.
Not in this physical reality. The only balance or middle ground is knowing who you are within it and separating consciously from it.
So even the morale of the police, actual police officers, is not on par with the administration of the police, because a lot of these cops are saying, oh, well, these people want to defund us. They don't need our help. They want to self-police. So, okay, we're going to take our time getting there. We're not going to investigate this. We're going to look the other way. Like George just did a video in Kensington where people were literally shooting up heroin in the arms and the legs and the feet, and the police were right across the street.
Well, you look at it this way. The masses are asses. The masses of the planet.
Yes, bro.
The masses of the planet are ignorant, deaf, dumb, and blind to what's really going on. They don't understand. They're being socially engineered and told what to do. If you're a police officer and all you know is chasing crime, you begin to view the people a certain way based off of your experiences with them.
Yes.
If you've been told that you was a nigga, deaf, dumb, and despair, you begin to behave that way based off of the images, based off of what you was told,
yes,
based off of the social engineering of the schools, miseducation, bad foods. You begin to behave that way. But there's groups that's creating this atmosphere for you to sitting at the table and then financially benefiting from it.
Yes,
that's why I said, that's why in the book of Jeremiah, Mosiah said, I will destroy these nations. Right? So it's all there. They're behaving, they're benefiting. So I need you guys to understand that in this reality, you don't make your own decisions. Stop thinking that you have a choice. You don't have a choice based off of your conditioning. You only have a choice when you begin to know who you are within the reality and you choose to separate from it. Separate from it.
Yes.
As long as you're living in the physical reality of the matrix that they created, you don't have a choice. Your choices and your steps are ordered through them. So when you see a kid, y'all not going to like this, when you see a kid shoot up a block, I'm trying to tell you, that is not him shooting up a block. You see his physical body.
Right.
But that is not his mind.
Right.
Who's benefiting from, who has the gun, the clothes he has on, the prison that he's going to go to, the dead bodies, who runs this?
The court system, all these branches of this tree get fed from his dysfunction.
Hosea 4:6 says you must renew your mind before you even come into the kingdom.
Listen, everything is mental. You mentioned it in a video we did, the power of imagination.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, go ahead, brother. Like, it's just like profound.
When
bro.
you are 16 years old and you have 3 children already. See, we can go and say, man, look at that, they doing it. Listen to me, y'all. I'm not saying that you're not without fault or accountability. I want you to understand you are not operating in your natural mind. You are out of your mind and you are out of line.
Wow.
You are out of alignment.
Yes.
And because you're out of alignment, you are out of your damn mind.
Yes.
The mind, when the mind tells you to go knock an old lady down and rape her, this guy knocked the old lady down and anal raped her. That is not a sane mind person.
Not
when
at
you're
all.
taking psychotropic drugs and pills off corners and drinking lean, you are not operating in a sane mind.
So it's a multi-pronged, multi-layered attack on a certain set group of people, and it's what we're seeing now is just the full Monty of it.
And yes, and you have to realize that the shutdown, 5G, poison foods, poison FDA, giving you inoculations, all these different things are all factors that's factoring in to what you're seeing right now, but you are not trained to understand none of this. So when you make videos, you don't challenge this. You don't play detective. You see the dead body on the ground. You walk up, you put your gloves on, you canvass the scene, you look under his leg, you look under his head, you check his pockets, you go to his mother's house, you go to his father, you go to his friends, you interview the family. You want to do a background check. You want to check an inventory check of who this person was, where he came from, what was his experiences leading up to, what was he doing that day, what did he do the day prior. Let's check his phone records. Who is his girlfriend? You want to look at all of these different things prior to the death, the dead body on the ground. And when you do this analysis, you'll begin to come up and see and make a good hypothesis as to why, or come up with a scientific or a sound theory as to how this body got to on this ground. So when we apply that same thing in the manner of why is our kids killing each other? Because these are our children. They're coming out of the wombs of black women and through men through the wombs of black women. So these are our children that are doing these shootings in Memphis, Philadelphia, Chicago, the Bronx, Brooklyn, gang banging, being bad bitches and real niggas. These are our children. But when we do background check, when we do an analysis of why our children are behaving this way, we have to come back to critical thinking and say, hey, they shut the planet down 2 years ago. They forced our kids to get Henny shots and slices of pepperoni pieces and buffalo wings, and some of these kids are not coming out the same. They got our kids on all kinds of pharmaceutical medicines. They're not smoking crack cocaine. They're taking pharmaceutical medicines, and we know what's on the labels of how these kids will behave. They got these kids drinking water. You don't know what's in the water. A lot of kids didn't want to get that Henny. Right. A lot of kids didn't want to. So look at the water in Flint. Look at the water in Camden, New Jersey. The water in Newark. And the water in all these different places. Why are our kids behaving in the manner in which they're behaving? But none of us are asking these questions when we know that they said he set up crafty counsel in the house. But you're mad at your own people. The system is designed to make you look at your own people through the same stereotypical lens that they look at you through. And while you're looking at your people that way, you're not turning around and looking at film. You're not looking at the Food and Drug Administration. You're not asking any questions as to why our children are behaving in a manner. We have never seen our children walk up to crowds of 100 people and just open fire. You have never seen nothing like this. So why aren't you doing the criminal investigation as to why our children are behaving this way? Am I saying that we didn't have criminality? No, I'm not. But the level of crime, the heinous acts that you're seeing now, why? Why are you asking yourself why? It's Sunday morning. Bishop George has come to talk to the people. I got to tell you the truth. Why aren't you asking these questions? Why aren't you questioning the government as to what happened? Because most of you are sheep and you're afraid. And your pain is connected to the pain of the community. You don't see anything else outside of that. You only see what you're going through. Mm-hmm. But you're not asking, why is my son cussing me out now? Why is my son getting in my face? My son would have never done anything like this 3 years ago.
Yeah, not saying you, just in general.
Yeah, he would have never done anything like this 3 years ago.
Right.
Why is my daughter carrying on like this? What is going on with her?
Right.
Why is so many of our women online showing their breasts and their butts and half their clits and objectifying themselves without even a man telling them to do it? What is going on inside the mind? How have you socially engineered our people?
Yes.
To run towards death.
Mm-hmm. Promote death. Sing about death. Rap about death. What
have you done? See, I'm a detective.
Yes, we are.
And I'm doing a background. I have a dead body on the ground. And I need to... The mother is asking, wants answers. She's asking Detective Macon, could you find the person that killed my son? And I'm looking. I'm searching for this person. And when I find the shooter, the mother of the shooter is crying and she's saying, he was a good boy. I don't know what happened. I did the best I can do to raise him. I just don't know. I took him to church. I took him to the mosque. His father took him to sports, and we did all these different things. And we need to understand, Detective, I have 2 other sons, and I need help with my sons. And you're asking these questions. And the detective, most likely, is not educated enough to turn around to neither one of those mothers and fathers and say, hey, your son is dead. Your son killed him. But let me give you an explanation off the record as to how these things are happening. The social engineering of the planet, the way whites are conditioned to look at blacks, the way blacks are conditioned to look at whites, the way blacks are conditioned to see themselves. To the point now where they become pirates on each other.
Yes.
Consuming all kinds of barbiturates. And all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
That detective most likely is not educated enough to explain to the parents, what are your children eating? What are they doing? What are they watching?
What are they reading?
What are they reading?
Yes. What are they listening to?
When is there going to be a global conversation or a global chastisement of Satan and all his minions?
Yes.
When would there be a global chastisement of the World Health Organization, a global chastisement of the FDA, a global chastisement of the pharmaceutical companies, a global chastisement of lobbyists that take money from special interest groups. See, we go on there. Of lobbyists that take money from special interest groups in order to keep your communities in the position that they're in for their financial gains. So you only see the dead body on the ground. You only see how Keenan did the shooting, but you don't see the congressman, the senator, and the corporate structure, the lobbyists that get money to keep the communities in the position that they are.
So they're the ones lighting the fuse.
They're the one putting gasoline on the ground and lighting the fuse, and they come to put it out. They put gasoline all on the planet. They light the fuse, and when it goes up in flames, the people begin to scream help. See, this is the metaphor. Across America, everybody is screaming help. We need help. They're killing our kids are killing each other. We need help.
Yo, let me tell you, right? I'm in the same vein of what you were saying, right? Now, this all is biblical. It's all God's will. Satan is an agent for God, right? Because God wouldn't allow this to happen, right? So it's his will. He's letting Satan do his thing because this is a giant test for people, right? Get out of here. Let me show you how all this is biblical, folks. Like we're not going off our own understanding. We looking at the scriptures, and it's prevalent and relevant today. It's the truth. Understand. He mentioned the black boy on the ground, dead. That's a satanic sacrifice, a ritual. Blood in the earth, on the ground, or in the dirt. Every firearm made, you could do the numerology on all the firearms. I don't care if it's 38 special, 357, 223, 7.62, 9mm, 25 caliber. We can name all these guns and all these numbers. Understand, folks, they're mentioning extended magazines on the news. Every extended magazine for Glock holds how many rounds? 33. Do you see the numerology and the symbolism? It's clear cut. We're in a spiritual battle right now, folks. Okay?
Christ died at what age?
33. When you listen,
right?
If I put this cup in front of George, right, as an example, and we go into a store, and it has a line here and a percentage. And you know what it says? 33% more. Everything here is 33 and a third.
Games, right?
It's a spiritual battle. Ephesians. Understand. He mentioned crafty counsel. This is Satan, folks. That's all it is. And I tell people, you are in the earth, the three-dimensional earth, to experience physical pain and judgment. This is your test. Okay? And you never can, the teacher can never help you, just give you study information. Okay, the Bible says our people are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge, not water, not food, not sunlight, not women, knowledge.
All that's irrelevant. All that's irrelevant.
Go ahead, Brother George.
It's all irrelevant. So remember, you are being tricked and social engineered to see a thing a certain way and not really what it is. You don't make your own decisions. Stop thinking you make your own decisions. You don't. Your decisions is made for you long before you make them. I keep trying to tell y'all, your talking points that you use today come from talking points from way back. They created the reality for you. They sit and they always find ways to recreate the matrix for you to live in and tell you how to behave. If you notice the music at one time, 25 years ago, right? You had gangster rap, but it wasn't drill. Drill come from gangster rap, but it got even harder. But at one point, our music was about love. The R&B music with women was about loving on a man,
right,
and sharing her love.
Yes,
right. Ashford and Simpson, all these different groups is about loving, right? The R&B music, Keith Sweat, was about loving a woman.
Yes, right.
Now everything is about I, we, me, and everything else. We out of the industrial age and we're going into the automation age. Automation age is the rise of the LGBT and all those other groups. Anti-family, no legacy, right? Generational legacy passed down because you're not having children. Yeah. So now everything is about me, and I don't need a man. So how you gonna have? Where you having babies? They're telling the women not to have babies. See, all of this is connected. The minute you get out of alignment is why you see women being murdered everywhere. Because women now, we raise a generation of boys that don't see women as a weaker vessel. They see women as an equal to them. So they're treating women as an equal. The conscience, remember the mind. The conscience doesn't see a woman and say, "Hey, that's a female." Remember on Friday when he smacked Woodson at the end, he said, "Hey, man, that's a female." And he started fighting her. Right. That was a mentality back then. I'm not saying that women didn't get abused, because they did, but for the most part, most men seeing a woman get abused, that man's gonna have a problem by other men.
Yes.
Because we were trained not to protect and defend women. Because we saw women as the weaker vessel. Right? We raised a generation of boys that don't see that. And we raised a generation of girls that see themselves as equal to a man.
So it's translating right now.
And you see groups of white women running around because they've always been that fight with their men. Because they gave us this Leave It to Beaver story that picket fences, nice neighbors, that white people are perfect and we're bad. But you're seeing white women argue about their men. So whatever was going on behind those doors, they might not have been in the street shooting each other, but there was a lot of shit going on inside them homes.
For sure.
That we didn't see. And all you got to do is see the white manosphere. You see the white women picketing, fighting against that man, but they condition us to join that fight. That ain't our fight.
Yes.
That is not our fight, family. We have to get our minds right on what's happening. So the moral of the story is, and this I'm gonna start winding it down. The moral of the story is, when you see these mass shootings across America, what they call mass shootings, or the crime, the criminality in our communities, I need you guys to not just look past, because how do you tell a black mother who lost 3 sons at the hands of a black man to just look past something? That's not what we're saying here. We're saying, in order to, remember, we're detectives. My job is to prevent another one of these from happening. So how do I do that? I have to bring self-awareness to my people. And I have to explain to you, another kid pulling the trigger is beyond pulling the trigger. What is inside his head that's telling him that it's okay to pull that trigger?
Right.
What is the music he's listening to, the food he's eating, the water he's drinking, the pharmaceutical drugs that he's taking,
the illicit drugs he's taking,
the teaching he's getting from you. All of those things factor into him pulling that trigger. But you notice, Riz, how come you never ever hear anybody talk about any of that? All you ever hear about it is these kids killing each other.
Yeah.
Because that's the easy part. Because to do that, we'll have to shake up the economy and shake up the way that the enemy is operating. You don't see the senators and the congressmen that's legislating laws that's destroying the inner city. You don't see the black people in the community that develop, "I can't wait to get the fuck out of here" mentality. Meaning, I'm looking at a dead body on it. Meaning, Detective George is canvassing a scene of a crime scene. Riz's son is standing behind a yellow tape, and he's watching the crime scene. And this is the 5th shooting he's seen in the last 2 weeks in his neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he has a tear coming down his eye, and he's saying, in his mind, "I can't wait to get the fuck out of here."
And remember your thought, but other communities of people or nations of people never have to go through this type of stress and trauma, and it causes PTSD, it causes mental dysfunction, it causes fear, it causes anxiety, and this. Just understand this, folks. No other race or nation of people have to submit to this type of thing going on and be burnt into their psyche, into their mind, and have to deal with something like this, folks. Understand, young kids are growing up seeing murders. Do you know what that does to a young mind? It fractures that mind. And if that child's father is killed in the street, guess what? 90% chance that child is going to grow up and hate other black men because a black man killed his father. So he's going to become a shooter and want to murder and kill, because it's the first one to the mind wins, folks. And like he said, it's all mental. You have to renew that mind. Go ahead, Brother George.
And what happens is, the one